With the conclusion of the 2024 NFL Draft, Howard Roseman and the front office once again pull off another masterclass, letting the draft come to them and taking players at great value. So without further ado, let's get right into the video and get an overview and draft grade for the Eagles this year. In round 1, the Eagles go with a major positional need in cornerback Quinan Mitchell out of Toledo. This was by far one of the biggest value picks on day 1, due to the sheer number of offensive players that flew off the board in the front half of the first round, allowing for the Eagles to take arguably the best player at the position. At 6 foot 195, Mitchell has a prototypical build of an NFL corner, while also possessing elite athleticism, posting a 9.79 overall relative athletic score. He's also versatile in terms of scheme fit, being able to play both in man and zone coverages, though I'd say he would excel even more in a zone system, which is exactly what Vic Fangio does with his quarter-half concepts such as cover 6. Along with that, he's an excellent tackler who is a plus factor in run support, which can often be a struggle for corners. Overall, this was a phenomenal pick at 22 in terms of both scheme fit and positional value. On day 2, Howie gets aggressive here and double dips at cornerback, by turning out for Trotter Jr. out of Iowa. At 6 foot and a half and 203 pounds, he may be listed as a corner, but is able to do much more than that, as he can play in the nickel or even at safety, giving Vic Fangio a Swiss Army knife to move around, similar to that of CJ Gardner-Johnson. To me though, his best skill set is tackling, even more so than Quinan, as he goes low and uproots anyone that comes his direction. He's also a major contributor on special teams, specifically on punt returns, where he had 241 return yards and 1 return touchdown for the Hawkeyes last season. Although they did have to give up their second round pick for a third rounder, I believe it was well worth it to grab a top 15 talent in the draft, and continue to overhaul an aging position group that the Eagles currently have. Moving on to round 3, the Eagles take defensive end Jayx Hunt out of Houston Christian. Standing at 6'3", 252, Hunt's definitely a project as a pass rusher, as he converted from safety not too long ago. But with Clint Hurt as his D-line coach, he should be able to reach his potential sooner rather than later. He is, however, fluid enough to be in coverage, as he was aligned at the outside linebacker position and asked to cover receivers and tight ends alike this past year. He'll likely be a rotational guy amongst the platoon of pass rushers the Eagles currently have, but his unique profile could separate himself from the rest of the outside linebackers, given his coverage ability as a 250-pound defensive lineman, which is a skill set that's rare to find in any draft. With their first day 3 pick, the Eagles end up selecting running back Will Shipley from Clemson. Continuing the trend of taking elite athletes, the 5'11", 206-pound back had a 9.57 RAS score, including a 4.45 40-yard dash and a 38.5 vertical jump that ranked in the 92nd and 93rd percentile respectively. What Shipley really brings to the table is his ability to set up blocks, as well as his pass-catching skills, giving them a viable complementary back. He also has experience as a kick returner, which gives a boost to his chances to compete for the RB3 spot on the depth chart. I see this pick as a future-proofing move, in anticipation of Kenneth Gainwell leaving for free agency, which I thought they grabbed at a good value here in the 4th round. One of my favorite picks in this class is 5th rounder Nia Smith from Texas A&M. At 5'10", 190, he's an intriguing player, having flip-flopped between running back and wide receiver during his college career. He's also a major factor on special teams, particularly on punt returns, where he brought back 2 touchdowns in the past 3 years. He can also return kicks, especially with the new kickoff rules, where running back skills like single cuts and physicality are highly sought after. The former Aggie will likely project as a slot receiver in the NFL, having played over 270 snaps in that alignment this past year. He also posted a 6.84 3-cone time that ranked in the 84th percentile, signifying his elite short area quickness. Ultimately, Smith will likely start as a depth option at the slot, but will provide instant impact as a core special teamer, which at this point in the draft is a major win. With their second 5th round pick, the Eagles finally address the second level of the defense and take linebacker Trotter Jr. from Clemson. At 6 foot 228, the son of Eagles Hall of Famer Trotter Sr. is a high IQ football player who tackles with force. His calling card, however, is his blitzing ability, which Vic Fangio should have fun using within his defense. This pick checks a much needed position off the list for the Eagles, especially with the subpar play from the group last season, as well as a major value for a guy who was supposed to go late on day 2. With their final pick in round 5, the Eagles finally go to the trenches and take guard Trevor Keegan out of Michigan. A 3-year starter and team captain, the 6'5", 310-pound guard profiles as a run blocker, which is what the Eagles major in. He definitely has room to grow, particularly on pass protection, but with Jeff Stalin as his coach, he'll be able to unlock his abilities and turn him into an eventual starter down the road. For now, he'll be a great depth option, especially since the Eagles lost a bunch of guys in both free agency and through retirement. Moving on to round 6, the Eagles take Florida State wide receiver Johnny Wilson. At 6'6", 231, Wilson has elite measurables, posting a 9.7 RAS, which simply can't be taught. His massive frame, however, has led people to view him as a tight end at the next level, so the Eagles listing him as a wide receiver signifies their belief in him as a full-time wideout. His biggest attribute is as a blocker, as he's one of the best in this class at that specific skill set. He does however struggle with route running and consistent hands, which are both aspects that can be fixed. To me, this was more of a high risk, high reward pick, as he most likely won't be a contributor early on, but if he ends up putting it all together, he could be a special player, especially with his unique size profile. With their final pick in this draft class, the Eagles select center Dylan McMahon from NC State. The 6'3", 299 interior lineman is another guy with plus athleticism, scoring a 9.79 RAS. The 3-cone drill in particular really stands out, as his 7.26 time is within a range that's a key indicator for a lineman who can start in the NFL, with guys such as Jason Kelsey and Brian O'Neill who are part of this group. A 3-year starter for the Wolfpack, he'll likely be another project for Jeff Stalin to work on, as the Eagles try to regain their depth after multiple losses on the offensive line. He probably won't make an impact at all this year, but does offer good upside. In terms of an overall grade for this class, this was once again another Howie masterclass, as the Eagles were able to grab multiple positions of need at great values, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is why I'm ultimately giving this an A grade. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of these draft picks, and thanks for watching.